Hi friends, strangers, internet. My name is EmilyHanhan. I love colorful makeup and colorful language. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. I am wrapping up this unofficial, official favorites week with eyeshadows. I started looking at my collection and I just realized that this was like the year of indie eyeshadow palettes for me. And there are some that have been discontinued. There are some that are still available. They all hold a bit of a place in my heart. So I thought I would just sit back and talk about all of them. There is no winner. I mean, you might hear me say, okay, but this one is my all-time favorite, but like, there is no winner. Before we jump into this eyeshadow makeup goblin session, just a reminder, if you like colorful makeup, if you like bitches with lots of opinions, or you just like cute fat babes in general, I hope you will subscribe. And if you are already subscribed, thank you so much. Feel free to check out my Patreon, YouTube membership, and all kinds of good stuff in the description box for other ways to support me. Okay, I'm gonna try to call out if a palette is available or if it's discontinued or out of stock, so that if you feel activated to be a makeup goblin along with me, you'll know. I'm gonna jump into, this feels like the earliest release that I can remember of this year, but I could be wrong. But the Genesis palette, which was a collaboration with Midas Cosmetics and Drench Cosmetics, this is a beautiful palette. It has some gorgeous blues, it has some warm tones, it has that pop of pinky purple. There are more textured shimmers and more smooth shimmers and, you know, mattes to kind of go with everything. I felt like this was just a lovely, fun, kind of like vampy palette in a way. It's a little vampy. And I really enjoyed it. I thought that for both Drench and Midas, this is probably my favorite palette from the both of them. And I think the packaging is stunning. It's soft touch with the gold detailing, and I felt like it was just like some of the best of the Drench and Midas formulas together. This is still in stock on the Drench website. I am affiliated with Drench. I did buy this palette myself. If you want to use code EmilyHanhan, it will be linked in the description box. And the code works on everything on the Drench site, just letting you know. But I really enjoyed this palette. I love seeing brands come together in ways that make sense, and I felt like this made sense. Another little call out for Drench collab with Lauren Elise, who is an amazing artist. You should definitely check them out on Instagram. I haven't used this palette as much, and this is out of stock, but I felt like this was a really pretty, like, romantic, it's called Venus in Lust. So I felt like the name and the color story really came together, worked together. So yeah, that was just a really pretty one. This one I bought as well. The next one that felt like came in time order, this, I'm gonna say this was something special. The Kaleidos Nebula palette that was made in collaboration with Angelica Nyquist here on YouTube. So Kaleidos has done this kind of packaging once before this one, but not anything in this styling. And this palette, I mean, this is a beautiful palette. So this feels like a very colorful palette that you can again go kind of vampy with. You have really deep, rich shades. You have the bright, like chartreuse and turquoise and peach. You have some duochrome, maybe multi-chrome shades in here. Like, I do think that this was a great option, especially if you don't have a robust collection of like single eyeshadows or things like that, because I feel like there are some special shades in here. I actually did a whole like single eyeshadow dupe it out session. So if you did miss this palette and you have singles, you might have some already in your collection. But this was sent to me in PR. Thank you very much, Kaleidos and Angelica. This is a beautiful, beautiful palette, and it makes me sad that it's gone. But I feel like they kept it around for a while. They did their best to meet demands, but I feel like the mattes in this palette are a really nice formula. You have a mix of more like sheer shimmers and more pigmented shimmers, all with lots and lots of sparkle. Now, we have another collab. Another bit of PR that I've received. I want to say I have been very grateful this year for the PR. I'm always grateful to receive products, but as I was gathering my palettes, I was like, bitch, it's been a good year for you. So thank you to any and all the brands and collaborators that thought of me, sent me stuff. And next up, we have Lethal is Dead. Teresa, I'm so fucking proud of you. Y'all know, if you've been here before, you know that I adore the Lethal Cosmetics formula, thanks to Teresa. And this was just, it is a beautiful palette. This is also gone, but I could not like mention this. This is a beautiful palette. This is something that can go more vibrant or more pastel. For me, it's also a face and eye palette because Straight to VHS is a beautiful face highlight. It's a beautiful like greeny gold face highlight. And the Final Girl is a lovely blush. Now, you know, it's a small pan. You have to be careful at, you know, how you apply it, blah, blah, blah. But I love that I can do kind of like all in one. And that's what I would do a lot of times when I was reaching for this palette. I find that the mix of colors in here is really fun because you can take it deeper with the blue and the red down here. You can keep it lighter. You have shimmers that pair with most of the different colors. And I felt like this was a really lovely introduction to Lethal if you are less familiar with them or if you've been waiting for the right palette to get. Obviously, it's not available anymore. But if you picked it up, I feel like it was a nice introduction in terms of colors that Lethal does really beautifully and a variety. And because this is magnetic, you can pop them out and use them as singles if that is something that you enjoy doing. Now, I'm gonna take a quick detour because I have to mention these because I think these are beautiful and I've only had them in my little grubby paws for a couple of weeks now, but the brand also recently released a palette and it is tempting. Those are the Likely Makeup Blush palettes, Fairy Blush and Clown Blush. These are just really, really cool, bright, fun, colorful blush palettes. I have been loving using both. Like, if I want a pink blush, I'm using both pinks. Anyway, I haven't played with these a bunch on my eyes, but I have a feeling that they're going to be fun. And I have a feeling that there are a couple of pastel singles that I have from brands that I don't love as much anymore that may be able to go because I have blushes that kind of fill those spots. Anyway, just quick shout out. Packaging is amazing. Like so cool. So fucking cool. I could have mentioned this in my favorites for the year, but they stood out as like cool indie shit that's happening. Now let's talk about another collaboration that perfection. Perfection. Okay, I had to be dramatic for some fucking reason. The Odin's Eye Legendary Diversa collection. This was a 3-palette collab with Tina from the Fancy Face, Annette from Annette's Makeup Corner, and Judy from her channel, Judy. This was 3 different 12-pan palettes, and I will try to link to any videos that I have done on any of these palettes as we go. I'll try. But I definitely have videos on these palettes on my channel. This collection was also sent to me in PR. Thank you, Odin's Eye. Thank you, Tina. Tina is why I was on the list. These are beautiful palettes. This was my first exposure to Odin's Eye, and I'm so glad I could start with like such strong palettes. The matte formula in all of these palettes is really lovely, pigmented but blendable, pretty high impact though, like pretty intense. The shimmers, you had a mix of formulas, so each palette has a multi-chrome, and then there is like more rich, dense shimmer formula and a shimmer formula that's a little bit more like a topper. Actually, I would say there's almost 4 shimmer formulas. There's the multi-chrome, there's like rich, dense ones that kind of need water or foiling for easiest application. There are the next step down of like a richer, dense shimmer, and then there is topper styles. Just a slight clarification. But I love all of these. I think that like this palette is a beautiful bright palette. Such a fun, beautiful bright palette. Mattes go with every color in here. Like there is a matte for every color in this palette, and they pair together well. So lovely. Annette's palette is definitely more of that like grungy, icy vibe. The multi-chrome in here is beautiful. I really enjoy like the bright tones of the mattes. I still haven't played a lot with the deep mattes in this palette. That's not as much my style, so I gotta dig back in, but I've had a lot of new makeup recently, so but these will not get neglected. And then Judy's palette, when I saw the reveal, I was like, okay, yeah, that's a pretty like warm neutral palette, but like this is really pretty. Again, there is a multi-chrome, there's like a beautiful bright gold shimmer, and like I hope for anyone that had gone all in and picked up all 3 palettes, I hope you are mixing and matching them because let me not destroy these. I'm trying to show you. They really do play well together. Whether you're going monochromatic and you want to pull in the reds from Judy and Tina's palettes, or the greens from Annette and Judy and Tina's palettes, like however you want to play, this collection has it. And I wanted to say some of these are still in stock. Giant Wolves is sold out and it's gone forever. But Red Dragon and Hummingbird are still available. So if you've been thinking about it, I don't know if they're like going to be available till they're sold out, or if they're getting taken off the site at the end of the year no matter what. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, the packaging on these also, like the way that there is texture and embossing, and they give me that feeling of a book, but they're not as bulky as some other Odin's Eye or other palettes that do that book style. These are beautiful and they perform beautifully, and I would have bought, I was gonna say, I would have bought Tina's. I would have ended up buying the whole collection if I was not getting them in PR, because when I saw them all together, I was like, oh bitch, I want them all. So thank you again for the PR, Odin's Eye, but like also I have my eye. I have my eye on the brand now, and I think I want more. I do. maybe not any of their current collection, I mean, there are things that I want, but like they're on my, they're high on my radar now. As per usual, I have wig hair all over my face. No judgments, no judgments. And another brand that has been on my radar, and I think they launched, if not this year in 2021, late 2020, and that is Mira Beauty. Now, the very first collection that I saw from Mira was beautiful, but the collection that like I knew I had to get was this beautiful collection. So this is the Avarice collection, and there is a 9-pan palette called Lust that is pink and purple. There is a 9-pan palette called Greed that is greens. And there is the Envy Quad that is all pressed glitters. You know me and my situation with glitters, but I have found I love doing glitter brows. So these are coming in handy. These are beautiful 9-pans. I did not buy them at launch, but I bought them over the summer. I think this was like a late spring, early summer launch, and then they restocked. Anyway, I got them in my hands though in November because of life and things. And I am just so happy to have them. I find that, now here's what I will say. I'm still most drawn to my single shimmer, multichrome, duochrome, iridescent shadows. I'm still wanting some of these brands to step it up a little bit. And that's how I feel about these. I find that the shimmers in both palettes are pretty, but they don't always fully satisfy my sparkle demon. But these are very gorgeous palettes. I actually find that the Lust palette has a little bit more of that texture and shine, especially this pink shade up here adds to it. I think this is a fun array of purples and pinks. You can get a pretty true like pink look or purple, or if you stuck with like these three, I think you could get more of that plummy or like that plummy kind of look. I love that the green palette has like the swampy green in it, and also these two mattes. Like I remember seeing on Teresa's eyes like a green, and I was like, what is she wearing? What does Teresa have on her eyes? And then I was like, oh wait, there's a description box. And in the description box was the green palette. And I was like, oh, I have that waiting for me at my P.O. box. Fuck yeah. This palette, I do want like a little more texture and shine in the shimmers, but they are pretty. I just wanted to say that. But like, I'm so happy to have this. This, I think, is going to be my green pairing palette, like that I pair with other singles and other palettes. The duochrome Asian F in here is so cool, like one of those green brown kind of duochromes. There's the gold, and there's more of like an olive gold. Like these are just fun. These are fun palettes that are monochromatic-ish, but they're not, in my opinion, and they're not so monochromatic that it's boring. Like you can do. And then in the winter, Mira released the Melancholia palette, and this I received in PR, and I want to thank Mira so much. By the way, I also have a code with Mira. You can use code Emily, I think, for also 15% off. It's an affiliate code. Thank you, Mira, for everything. But they sent me, so they did another one of their glitter quads. I have the black glitter for my brows today. But this is what I'm talking about when like I can see brands like improve. So this is the Melancholia palette. Now, I love a 9-pan size, but what I'm seeing here is more texture, more shine, and still beautiful mattes. So you have 8 mattes in here and 7 shimmers, and in particular, Solitude and 1,000 Miles are more sparkle, shine, beautiful. And then the other shimmers are still shimmery, but they are a little bit less textured. And this is a beautiful palette. It's been performing lovely on the eyes. And so I've just been super into the brand. I love the art that they're doing. I love their story. And I'm like, just like how I talk about Drench, how I talk about Odin's Eye, how I talk about so many brands, I'm like excited to see where they're going next and what's next, because I see the growth, I see the evolution, especially in these smaller indie brands. So that is Mira Beauty. So we have one palette left. Let me set the scene. This palette, part of me felt like it was one of the most hyped palettes for me this year. And it was also a palette that I was probably the most skeptical about. That word is messing up my brain. Skeptical. Let me just move past that because that sentence was a struggle. The Blend Bunny Blends palette. Now, I think this came out this year. Here's the thing. It's 30 pans. It's all matte. Those two things should send me running, actually. It's also legitimately a rainbow palette. We're just gonna ignore this pan. A friend of mine passed this to me because theirs came with one shadow broken. So that's normally a deep dark blue. All of these things should make me less than excited to use this. But I love this palette. I actually don't have a freestanding rainbow palette in matte format, especially. I don't. They aren't usually something I'm attracted to. The last one that I bought was years ago. It was the Color Rain Vivid Pigments, and I quickly, did I buy it as singles or did I break it up into singles? But the formula of these mattes, perfect. This motion to me is always when I'm like, chef's kiss, and then I'm like, oh no, that's cringe. I am cringe and I am free. Chef's kiss, perfect, beautiful formula. In my opinion, very pigmented, but also buildable. I definitely see, for me, a marked improvement when I use my natural hair brushes on these shadows versus my synthetic hair brushes. But that's why I love natural hair brushes. Because of the way this is arranged, basically you're built with like foolproof monochromatic eyes, because if you pair these 3 shades together, or these 3 shades together, or these 3, or these 3, like you're going to have like the perfect green eye, or the perfect red, or the perfect turquoise blend. But you can also mix and match and like put multiple colors together. And there's a bunch of noise outside. We're just gonna keep going. It's such a beautiful palette. And like, there are moments when I'm using it where I'm like, did I need the stair step between these 2 purples? Or did I need the stair step between these, these pinks, or things like that? But I am using all 3 colors. Like if I want to do a pink eye, I am using all 3. And I like working lightest to deepest, so I'll do it that way. Like I like blending my shadows. I don't like packing them on. And I can do that with this formula, and it works so beautifully. And because I didn't have a rainbow palette, and I was actually kind of like Weirdly, recently I was kind of craving it. And since I missed the Viseart Grand Pro 2 and didn't want to spend that kind of money, I am very happy to have this actually. I am. I'm very happy to have this. My only like little complaint is I don't really want the browns down here, but I've kind of put my brush into almost every other color in this palette. I think I might have put my brush into every color except for the browns because I just used the white, gray, and black today. The hype is real and the hype is right for me. So this is my single shadow secret weapon. This is it. That is it. That is my indie eyeshadow palette Goblin Hour. I hope that you enjoyed this time together. Leave me a comment and let me know one of your favorite indie palettes from the year. If it's something that I didn't mention here, I would love to hear about it. But you can also just echo any of my loves, any of the things I mentioned, because I also would love to hear about that as well. And I hope you enjoyed Favorites Week. And if you have missed any of the other I did 5 videos total. This is the 5th video. If you've missed any of the other 4 videos, just click on my channel. It'll be right at the top of my videos that I've done most recently, and I would really appreciate that. And finally, take care of yourself better today than you did yesterday because you are worth it. Bye, friends.